Switching gears a little bit, as we talk about buying Canadian, we also need to focus on supporting local businesses. Emily Banks had a vision and created Midnight Cookies for people who crave the late night cookie fix, as her hours are generally from 3 p.m. until 2 o'clock in the morning. She now has 2 locations, one on Manor Road in the Yonge and Eglinton area and one on Clinton in the Bloor and Christie area. Emily, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Hi, thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
Awesome. So let's start at the beginning. How did you get the idea to start a cookie store?
So it actually was inspired by the late night hours, not having a lot of options. I moved back to Toronto with my now fiance, my boyfriend at the time, and we were looking for something to do, just to kind of figure things out during COVID. So we actually started to do Uber Eats on the side, and we would work until like very late. And then my fiance would get hungry, and he was looking for options, and everything was pretty much like fast food or not the best quality. And it was a little frustrating because we just wanted something like sweet, good, but also like amazing and fresh. So we got the idea of making our own cookies, but using the best ingredients and then always making it to order. So no matter the time, you were literally getting the best quality cookies you could buy.
Yeah, I smell them all the time. You're a little too close to my house.
I know.
And so I'm always trying to hold myself back. I just smell the cookies. I'm like,
I smell it too, like down the street, you can smell it.
Absolutely. So how did you first get started? Like how did you kind of put everything together? You've got this great idea. You figure out there's a need in the market. So how did you first get your first store open?
Yeah, so honestly, it was a lot of like work between my fiance and I. We started it really small, out of our house, basically just posting on social media and online, kind of get like the word of mouth and seeing if there was like a feel, how the market would kind of respond to us. And slowly but surely, we kind of built it up. We started with a website, and then we actually rented a small commercial kitchen for about a year, so we could actually learn how to operate really well in a commercial kitchen before we rented our first brick and mortar. And then after about a year, we decided to take the plunge, and we renovated our little store ourselves. And here we are a little over 2 years later.
Wow. And now you've got 2 locations. And how is business going in both locations?
It's gone amazing. Honestly, in both areas, they're very different areas, but we still feel like the community around us everywhere we go, like it's honestly been nothing but positive. And I know it's hard opening small businesses, but I feel so grateful and appreciative of all of our customers.
Amazing. And then are you looking at a third location? Are you still expanding?
Yeah, so we haven't announced it yet, so this can be like our official announcement here. We were going to do later this week, but we actually are planning to open a new store on Queen West.
Oh, wow. That sounds very exciting. And then, I mean, your dad works with me, so you just told me about this van. What's going on? You're going to go on the road and sell cookies? Tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's kind of like my love project. I love our stores. Like our stores have always been small spaces. So I said, why not make it into a food truck? Then we can kind of like approach the customers wherever they are and wherever we need to be. As we all know, commercial rent in Toronto is very expensive. So we thought it was like a great alternate to kind of go into the areas where we'd like to be sometimes, but not all the time. And then also direct to our customers for events and things like that.
Great. And have you faced any bumps along the road? Like what's it been like dealing with city inspectors, all that kind of stuff?
Yeah. So the first time around, I will admit, I shed a few tears opening the first store because I was new to everything and kind of everything that we needed to have in our stores. It was a little bit overwhelming as like a first-time business owner. But then I just had really good support around me. Like I wasn't afraid to ask questions. I called the city all the time. They probably got annoyed at me. And then they gave me the information that I needed to know. So that was like a great resource online. And then, like I said, just asking other people that are also in the same food like environment that they know what needs to be done.
Right. And talk to me about the family support that you receive. I know your dad helps you to renovate your stores. I remember when I had gone to see you when you first opened, you mentioned that your mom was sitting outside in a car, just checking on you and making sure everything was okay. So how important has it been to have your family support during this journey?
It's everything to us. That's where we started. I think everything always starts with your family. So they've always been like our number one supporters. Like my dad, like you mentioned, he literally has helped me build like every single one of our stores. So if anyone ever comes into our stores and they see the cookie jars on the wall or the counters, that was all created by by my dad and I. So really, it's like the backbone to where I am today. Like my fiance and I couldn't even have our stores if it wasn't for them. So
wow, that's incredible. What advice would you have for other young entrepreneurs who are contemplating starting their own business in the city?
I think I would say that I know it can be hard and overwhelming. Costs can be really high, but just take something one day at a time and never be afraid to have like selfish promotion, like down the street. Like I started my business by hanging posters at Yonge and Eglinton and talking to people in elevators about what we do. I was never afraid to kind of speak up and say, hey, this is what I do. You should come check us out. And I think that was a big fundamental for people to know who we are today, because I was never afraid to kind of put myself in uncomfortable situations and speak to people.
Perfect. That's great. How did you get all these skills? How did you get to just be okay to do all this sales and kind of get your feet wet and really get in there?
Honestly, it's hard. You have to constantly put yourself in situations where you necessarily wouldn't feel comfortable and kind of put yourself on the line. So I think just over time, I've developed kind of confidence to be able to, I believe in myself. So I think more than anything, I always stand by myself and know that it's what I need to do in order to grow my business. So
beautiful. That's wise words indeed. And is there anything you wish you would have done differently along the way? Anything that you sort of know now that you would change how you started or how you begun, or anything that you've done along the way?
Honestly, I feel like mistakes happen for a reason, so I don't really regret any path that I've taken. I think every mistake that I've made has been like a big lesson. So not really, to be completely honest, but I think at the end of the day, I probably would have invested even more time in listening to the people around me, more resources, more learning, because I definitely think there was like avoidable mistakes if I kind of just spent a little bit more time. But again, I'm grateful for every lesson I've learned. So
beautiful. Thanks so much for joining us this morning, Emily. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm happy to be here. So
awesome. That sounds great.
Yeah.
That was Emily Banks. She and her fiance have created Midnight Cookies, which is located on Manor Road, just in the Yonge and Eglinton area, as well as Clinton in the Bloor and Christie area. And then you also heard it here first that she's going to be expanding into Queen West. Their hours for their cookies, it's for people who have those late night cravings. It goes from 3 p.m. till 2 a.m. in the morning.